of March 21st, 2024. This meeting is being recorded by WCTV. Historically, this meeting has not allowed any public comment, and tonight is no different. We do have a member attending by Zoom, so each recommendation will have a roll call. However, Ms. Galezo will handle the roll call duties. As in the past, we will take turns reading the articles. Please feel free to make a motion after you finish reading it, only if you're comfortable. So now we'll proceed with the roll call for the meeting. John Doherty is excused. Mary Ann Galezo?
Here.
Chris Diorio is excused. Brad Jackson?
Here.
Andy Levine?
Here.
Joe Lovino is excused. Scott Neville?
Here.
By Zoom. And David Temang.
Here.
And Teresa Manganelli. Okay, so what we will do is
Article
get
one's a
started.
Passover, right? We don't have.
If everybody can get their budget books out. A couple of things I do want to mention, which will be different when you get to town meeting. So the school budget for the Shawshene Vocational Training has been reduced from $8,297,088 to $7,562 and $5,562,850, a reduction of a little over $734,000. So that amended value will be in the warrant. Maturing debt and interest has changed. The recommended increase for the debt interest is $100,000 from $957,488 to $1,057,488. As well, the town hall and school administration is being increased by $200,000 to a total of $2,314,865. The capital outlay concerning the Vector truck will be handled through a motion at the town meeting, which will indicate that half of that Vector truck cost, which would be $330,000, will come through taxation. The other half will come from the water department. And the mini wing mower for $50,000 has been removed from the budget, as well as the tasers for the police. And that said, I think we're ready to go. If anybody has any questions? No? Mary Ann? We can start with Article 3.
Okay. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the purpose of paying unpaid bills of previous years or take any other action related thereto. And I believe that is 0.
At this point, yep.
Make a motion to approve Article 3.
Motion to approve?
Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andy Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Article 4, to see if the town will vote to authorize the treasurer collector with approval of the select board to enter into an agreement under the provisions of Chapter 4, Section 53F of the Massachusetts General Laws with one or more banks doing business in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts during fiscal year 2025 for a term not to exceed 3 years, which will permit the town of Wilmington to maintain funds on deposit with such institutions in return for said institutions providing banking services or take any other actions related thereto. I make a motion to approve Article 4.
Do we have a second?
Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andrew.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes.
Article 5.
So number 5 is the budget, and I did just go through some of the changes that we will see at town meeting. So if you want to take that, Andy?
Article 5, sure.
Yeah.
Article 5, to see how much money the town will appropriate for the expenses of the town and the salaries of several town officers and departments, and determine how the same should be raised, whether by taxation, transfer from available funds, or otherwise, or take any other action related thereto.
Do you want to make a motion, or,
Motion to approve?
okay?
Second.
So that would be approved, subject to the amendments of
Yes.
the memo from the town accountant, or the
Right.
finance director.
Mhm.
excuse me.
Teresa Manganelli,
Yes.
Andrew Levine,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes, Article 6, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the purchase and equipping of new and/or replacement capital equipment, including but not limited to the following items, including any incidental or related expenses, and further to authorize the sale, trade-in, conveyance, or other disposition of any equipment being so replaced, such funds to be spent by the town department so indicated with the approval of the town manager, and to the extent set forth in Chapter 592 of the Acts of 1950, the Select Board as follows. For the Elderly Services Department, one replacement handicap accessible van for $93,000. For the Fire Department, one replacement ambulance for the cost of $475,000. For the Department of Public Works, one replacement Vector truck for the cost of $660,000, with $330,000 being provided from the
Water.
from the Water Department, and $330 to be funded by free cash. One replacement heavy-duty front-end loader to be assigned to the Highway Division for $205,000. One heavy-duty baseball infield groomer to be assigned to the Parks and Grounds Division for $38,000. One replacement Ford 550 box truck with lift gate for $89,000. One Ford Maverick pickup truck for $33,000, and one replacement handicap accessible minivan for the school department for $75,000. I move the Finance Committee recommend approval of all of those purchases.
Second it.
Second.
Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli,
Yes.
Andy Levine,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes,
Okay, Article 7, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money to comply with the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Systems, MS4, requirements as part of the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, including design and engineering costs and any other incidental and related costs and expenses, or take any other action related thereto. And I make a motion that we approve this article.
And that's 75,000.
Yes, 75,000, excuse me.
Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli,
Yes.
Andy Levine,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
yes,
Article 8, to see if the,
Excuse me. I completely skipped over you, Scott. Do you want to read an article?
I can read, sure. I can't
Okay.
see you guys, so I don't know what's, I don't know what order we're in, but yeah, I can go.
Okay, why don't you take number 8?
Okay. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from PEG access and cable-related special revenue fund a sum of money to be expended under the direction of the Select Board for PEG access services pursuant to the provisions of MGL Chapter 44, Section 53F 3/4, or take any other action related thereto. I make a motion to accept.
in the sum of 50,000,
I don't,
50,000 or 500?
500.
do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli,
Yes.
Andy Levine,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Brad?
Yes.
Okay, Article 9. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the funding of the 4th of July celebration or take any other action related thereto. The sum is 50,000, and I make a motion to approve Article 9.
Second.
Roll call vote. Teresa?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Brad?
Yes.
Article 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the observation of Memorial Day and Veterans Day, or take any other action related thereto for the sum of $13,000. I make a motion to approve Article 10.
A second.
Second.
Roll call vote. Teresa?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad?
Yes.
Okay. Article 11. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute the sum of $750 each, a total of $1,500, for the purpose of renewing under the authority of Section 9 of Chapter 40 of the general laws as amended, the lease of A, Veterans of Foreign Wars Clubhouse for the purpose of providing suitable headquarters for the Nee Ellsworth Post 2458 of the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States, and B, American Legion Clubhouse, Inc., for the purpose of providing suitable headquarters for the Wilmington Post 136 of the American Legion, or take any other action related thereto. Motion to approve?
Second. Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli?
Yes.
Andy Levine?
Yes.
Scott Neville?
Yes.
David Tamang?
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad?
Yes. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to determine the spending limits for revolving accounts established pursuant to Section 53E and a half of Chapter 44 of the general laws and Section 5 of Chapter 73 of the Town of Wilmington inhabitant bylaws for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending on June 30th, 2025, as follows. Revolving account, fund account, compost bin, revolving fund, spending authority limit $4,500 for fiscal year 2025. Revolving fund account, subsurface sewage disposal upgrade revolving fund, spending authority limit $200,000, fiscal year 2025. Move to recommend approval.
Second.
Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli?
Yes.
Andy Levine?
Yes.
Scott Neville?
Yes.
David Tamang?
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad? Jackson?
Yes.
Do you want to take 13, Scott?
Sure. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the rehabilitation and lining of an existing 24-inch corrugated metal drainage culvert in the vicinity of 340 Ballardville Street, including engineering services to support design, permitting, and bid specifications, site preparations, and construction costs, and any incidental or related costs and expenses, or take any other action related thereto. Make a motion to approve.
The cost is $135,000.
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli?
Yes.
Andy Levine,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad?
Yes.
Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute, a sum of money to conduct a feasibility study for Lowell Street Field/recreation area improvements, including any incidental or related costs and expenses, or take any other action related thereto. And this is at a cost of $50,000. And I make a motion that the Finance Committee approve this.
Second. Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Scott Neville?
Yes.
David Temang?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Brad?
Yes.
Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money to conduct a feasibility study schematic design to locate a fire substation in North Wilmington, including any incidental or related costs and expenses, or take any other action related thereto. This is for $600,000. Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second? We need a second.
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 Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli?
Yes.
Andy Levine?
Yes.
Scott Neville?
Yes.
David Temang?
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad? Jackson?
Yes.
Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute, a sum of money for the installation of fiber connection at the new Elderly Services Center, Town Hall/School Administration Building and the 4th of July Building, including any incidental or related costs and expenses, or take any other action related thereto. I make a motion to approve Article 16 for $50,000.
Second it. Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli?
Yes.
Andy Levine?
Yes.
Scott Neville?
Yes.
David Temang?
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson?
Yes.
Okay. Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the maintenance of the police department firing range, including design and engineering costs, and any incidental or related costs and expenses, or take any other action related thereto. The amount is $40,000.
Second. Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli?
Yes.
Andy Levine?
Yes.
Scott Neville?
Yes.
David Temang?
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson?
Yes. Article 18, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the continued phase cemetery development, including design and engineering costs, and any incidental or related costs and expenses, or take any action related thereto. The amount of money is $60,000. I move the Finance Committee recommend approval.
Second. Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli?
Yes.
Andy Levine?
Yes.
Scott Neville?
Yes.
David Temang?
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson?
Yes.
Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from department receipts or user fees a sum of money to operate the Department of Public Works Sewer Division enterprise, or take any other action related thereto. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote. Teresa
We
Manganelli?
need to include the cost.
Oh, that's right.
3.6 million.
That's
Three
a
point
3675096.
Yep.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have the sheet that has all the costs on it.
Oh, that's okay.
No
I
problem.
didn't have that with me.
Yes, I approve.
Okay, Andy Levine?
Yes.
Scott Neville?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson?
Yes.
Article 20, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for engineering services for the design of a replacement pump station at Industrial Way Pump Station, including design and engineering costs and any incidental or related costs and expenses, or take any other action related thereto. I move that we approve this article for the sum of $135,000.
Second.
Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli,
Yes.
Andy Levine,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad?
Yes.
Article 21, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the replacement of classroom projectors at the high school, including any incidental or related costs and expenses, or take any other action related thereto. I move to approve $130,000 for Article 21.
Second.
Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andy Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad?
Yes.
Article 22, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the replacement of network switches at the high school, including any incidental or related costs and expenses, or take any other action related thereto. The cost is $114,000. I make a motion to approve Article 22.
Second. Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andy Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes.
Article 23, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the replacement or upgrade of wireless access points within the high school building, including design and engineering costs, and any incidental or related expenses, or take any other action related thereto. I move to approve a requested $90,000 for this article.
Second.
Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andy Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money for the replacement/upgrade of Chromebooks in schools across the district, including any incidental or related costs and expenses, or take any other action related thereto. Move that we recommend approval for the amount of $75,000.
Second.
Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andy Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad?
Yes.
Article 25, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money to deposit in the other post-employment liabilities trust fund established in accordance with the MGL Chapter 32B, Section 20, or take any other action related thereto. I believe this is for $1 million.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andy Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad?
Yes.
Article 26, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money to deposit in the Capital Stabilization Fund as established by vote on Article 23 at the April 27th, 1991 annual town meeting, or take any other action related thereto. The amount is $1 million, and I recommend that we approve this.
Second. Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andy Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad?
Yes.
Great, so we are Article 27. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute a sum of money to pay the Middlesex Retirement System in addition to the annual assessment, or take any other action related thereto. The sum is $1.5 million. Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andy Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
Me, I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes.
I don't, God bless you. I don't believe that we can vote on Article 28. We'll vote on that if there are any transfers to be made at town meeting. So we can pass over this one.
On, I'm sorry. So can we do Article 29 as stated in the warrant book,
Of
so he
course.
doesn't have to?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Article.
For selfish reasons only.
Article 29, as stated in the book. I make a motion to approve the article.
I'll second it. Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli,
Yes.
Andy Levine,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes.
And I'd just like to add that that was recommended for approval by the planning board.
So, Article 30.
Same for 30?
Same for 30, yeah.
So what,
Why don't you just read like the first introduction?
And then, as stated in the warrant book.
okay. Article 30, to see if the town will vote to amend the zoning bylaw and associated zoning district map of the town of Wilmington as follows to create a new MBTA Communities Multifamily Overlay District or to take any other action related thereto as stated in the warrant book.
And as approved by the planning board.
A motion to accept?
Second.
This is a big article. Does anybody have any discussion on this? If not, we can go directly to a vote.
I'd just like to say, I mean, this is a complicated issue. I thought the folks that put together these zones did it thoughtfully with what appears to be a minimum possible impact on our community while meeting the state standards. And I think they should be commended for how thoughtfully they went about it. I listened to the presentation yesterday and was really very impressed with how thoughtful it looked, that how minimal the impact, practical impact on Wilmington might be if this were adopted. That was my layman's review of it. So I just think they deserve some, our thanks for putting together such a thoughtful and comprehensive proposal.
I know that Valerie Gingrich has been in discussion with the state for a very long time, going back and forth and making sure it's exactly what they will accept and what we can live with. So I totally agree with your comments.
I just want to say, I was thinking the same thing, and I also think she did an amazing job explaining it in the meeting. It was pretty plain English,
Yeah.
and I know that's a pretty complicated,
Yeah.
thing to explain, so I thought she did a nice job explaining it.
I think when people really have it explained in a simple format, it will make a lot more sense. Looking at this article, looking at the boards out front, it's very confusing. You know, people need to understand that we don't have to utilize this zoning. There's no requirement to do it. It just needs to be there in the event that it's needed. So, you know, that's something I think that is important. This may not come to fruition or have any impact on Wilmington for many, many years. Something could pop up next year. We don't know, but,
I do think, though, that the presentation, while it was very clear what punitively would happen to the town of Wilmington if we didn't do it, I do think they may find, there may be some advantages to do this. I mean, we all, I have adult children. I would love for there to be some housing stock in Wilmington, that my children could live in town and my grandchildren could live in town and go to schools here. And, you know, there's not a lot of housing stock in Wilmington. And that may be an advantage of adopting this, that some people in the community may find an advantage. Now, sure, everybody who lives here doesn't want any more houses. Once you move in, then you close the door behind you,
Yeah.
right? But it's, I do think there may be some advantages that they could articulate as part of their presentation. Nonetheless, it was still, I agree, excellently done.
And, you know, just for the record too, if this doesn't pass town meeting, we could stand to lose a lot of money in this community. And the MSBA project will probably be one on very shaky ground.
That was a terrifying thought last night when they made that part of the presentation.
Yeah.
Tens of millions of dollars.
And I feel like we're at the beginning of the communities going to vote on this. So there was Milton. I don't know if there have been many others. Certainly, I wouldn't want to be taking a stand in the very beginning. So my feeling is that we're going to end up in the same spot, no matter how we vote for it. If we vote for it, we can continue on with our lives and see how this plays out, continue to have our tax dollars that are sent to the state every year come back to us when we need them and not go somewhere else. If we vote against it, we're going to have to defend ourselves surely in a court of law. We're going to lose, and then we're going to be back at this point where we are forced into it, and what will the state, how long is the state's memory that they've actually had to sue us to comply? And how willing would they be to put us at the top of the list for another school or another building or road repair? There's a lot at stake here. Any other comments? Scott, you? No?
So I would just echo what's been said. It's been put in front of us. I think the town has done an excellent job coming up with a plan for what the guidelines are. I know there was a lot of talk at the beginning of this of when this initially came out, of the town trying to find a way to make it so that we were not beholden to it, and they were not able to. So I think we're moving forward with the best plan possible on this.
We have a second? I lost track.
I seconded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have any other comments? No?
All right, roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andy Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes. Madam Chair, I'm going to abstain from Article 31, so I'd appreciate if someone else could read that.
Okay.
Scott wanted.
Page 18.
Article 31, to see if the town will vote to approve the Shawshene Valley Regional Vocational Technical School District Committee's vote on December 19th, 2023, to establish a stabilization fund pursuant to Section 16G1/2 of Chapter 71 of the Massachusetts General Laws, and stabilization fund to be invested and to retain its own interest earnings and provided by law and further set up an operational line item to be created to transfer available monies into said stabilization fund or take any other action related thereto. For this one, I am going to recommend a motion to disapprove.
I'll second that.
Another considerable article. Do we want to have some discussion on it first, or are we ready to go directly to a vote?
I guess the only comment that I'd have is, I think it's important that the school actually goes back to the communities to ask them to spend the money that they're collecting, right?
Mhm.
Instead of sort of dumping it into a fund and then not necessarily paying back if there's a surplus. I think it also creates an incentive for them to try to build that surplus up as well. So that's just my thinking.
And just for the record too, I mean, this money would be controlled by the school committee and the school committee only. It wouldn't have to go to a town meeting vote. Like our stabilization fund has to go through a town meeting vote. So it worries me that, there's only 2 people from the town of Wilmington on that board. So, you know, that's another concern I have for this article.
A big concern for me is if there's excess money at the end of the year, or the deficiencies account exceeds a certain percentage, that money has to go back to the communities. In this case, that money would be swept into the capital stabilization account. The communities would not get any money back. We tried to get an analysis of how much we've received in the last 5 years, and basically they came up with one payment of $66,000, which tells you that that was probably several $100,000 of excess monies that they had to return in total. That would have gone into this account. That account could build up fairly quickly. Concerns me a great deal for all the reasons already mentioned, and I support not approving this.
Anyone else?
I just want to state that I think setting up something for a long-term planning for capital expenditures at the tech would benefit the town for planning purposes, but the oversight of how this gets spent, I don't think is done correctly for the town of Wilmington. So that is why I am voting to disapprove.
Okay, so roll call vote, this article will be disapproved by the Finance Committee. Teresa Manganelli,
Yes.
Andy Levine,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad
I abstain.
Jackson has
I
abstained. Yep. So that is unanimous, with
So
one
now-
abstention.
Okay, so
Just for the record, I'd like to state that I'm abstaining because I'm a retiree from Shawshene Tech, a former employee, and I feel I have a conflict that I cannot resolve fairly without abstaining.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Article 32, to see if the town will vote in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 77 of the Acts of 2023 to rescind the vote taken under Article 35 of the of the April 22nd, 2023 town meeting, creating a special opioid settlement stabilization fund and dedicating 100% of the opioid litigation settlement funds received by the town to such fund pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B, such funds henceforth to be placed in a special revenue fund to be expended without further appropriation for all the purposes allowed by law, including those outlined in applicable opiate litigation settlement documents, or take any other action related thereto.
Second.
I recommend approval.
Oh, sorry.
And
second.
I don't believe there's a cost involved with this.
No, there isn't. Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli,
Yes.
Andy Levine,
Yes.
Scott Neville,
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes?
So we are on Article 33. Article 33, to see if the town will vote to amend the zoning bylaw and associated zoning map of the town of Wilmington by voting to rezone from residential 60, R60, to residential 20, R20, the following described parcel of land, or take any other action related thereto. The land at and known as Edgewood Street in Middlesex County, Mass., as fully described in a deed recorded in Middlesex North District Registry of Deeds, Book 31921, page 227, containing approximately 2.7 acres of land shown on the Wilmington Assessor's Map 11, Parcel 6. And I believe the Planning Board approved this
Yes.
article. I make a motion to approve this article.
Second.
Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andrew Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes.
Article 34, to see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to enter into an agreement, the terms of which shall be determined by the selectmen to sell, convey, or otherwise dispose of all or part of the following described parcels, following a determination made by the town manager that the land is not needed for any municipal purpose, and in accordance with Chapter 3, Section 16 of the bylaws of the inhabitants of the town of Wilmington revised, and any other applicable law. 2, adjacent parcels being located at 0 Malloy Road and described in the town of Wilmington Assessor's Records as map parcel 40-130 and parcel 40-129, or take any other action related thereto. I think the recommendation from the planning board was, they voted 4-0 to recommend the land not be deemed surplus.
That's correct.
But if it is deemed surplus, the planning board voted 4-1 against the land, since it is an open, protected open space.
It has been declared not surplus.
It is recommend the land not be deemed surplus.
Right, but
Is what I have.
Right, and the surplus committee met and said,
right.
Oh, okay.
and they
Yeah.
deemed it
The
as not
Property
surplus.
Review Board
Yeah.
has determined that it is not surplus to the needs of the town.
Okay.
So we can vote on this. We have to vote on every article, but no matter what we vote, it's not going to be legal, so.
I mean, so I'll make a motion to not approve Article 34 with the caveat that I do want to say something about it.
I second it. Yep. Go ahead.
So I really feel for the petitioner of this. You know, he's a gentleman who just wanted to make a better life for his family, think about building a house on land that was near his property. He was just walking back and forth. And I also want to comment, I didn't comment at the time when he was speaking to his proposal. But, you know, it takes a certain amount of guile to actually get up there and try to make that happen in front of a group of people, and then have this huge laundry list of reasons why it can't be done. And just for that, I salute the petitioner. That said, it doesn't look like it's in the cards, unfortunately.
I agree.
Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli. Vote to disapprove.
I vote to disapprove, yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David?
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad?
Yes.
I think Article 35 has been withdrawn.
Who's up, Andy?
Was 35 was with?
It has been withdrawn.
All right, great.
Last item.
Article 36, to see if the town will vote to rename the Woburn Street School to be called Richardson Elementary School. Supporting history. The Richardson family, formerly of 280 Woburn Street, Wilmington, Mass., for many years operated their working farm, hiring and educating the youth in the neighborhood area. They gave their farm, known as Weegate Farm, as a gift to the town of Wilmington as a representative farm of Wilmington's historic small-town farming community, and contributed to the town as food producers, employers, and businesses. The farm includes 5.7 acres of land and the house dating from 1754, barns, and several outbuildings. It is included in the National Register of Historic Places, where it is described as a significant example of Georgian and Federal period architecture. The Richardsons could have sold their property to developers to build many homes, but mindful of its historic significance, they decided to give it to the town of Wilmington, lessening the traffic and need for services. Therefore, to memorialize Wilmington's farming history in a small but significant way and show appreciation for the Richardson family, I ask for town meeting approval for the renaming of the Woburn Street School to the Richardson Elementary School, or take any other action related thereto.
Do you want to make a motion? No, you don't have to.
I don't, I'd rather have discussion.
Okay, well, do you want to make a motion so that we can discuss it.
Sure. I will make a motion. Gosh, I'm torn. I will make a motion to approve.
Okay, so the motion's being made for discussion. Right. Okay. Well, I thought it was very moving when he
Second.
came. Oh, do we have a second?
I'll second for the purposes of discussion.
Thank you. When Mr. Baloo spoke, but unfortunately, there's a couple of things that stand in the way for him to achieve this. One of them is that there is no other school in the town that is named after an individual. They're all named by the street that they're located on. And secondly, we don't know what is going to happen to these schools on this side of town. The Woburn Street site could be used for some other educational purpose, which might mean the destruction of that school. So I think that it would be premature to name a school at this time in our history when there's a good chance that it's not going to survive. It would be dreadful to have to, tear down a school that has just gone through a naming process. And I think it was mentioned last night that typically schools are named by the school committee, probably in coordination with town manager type of thing, but they have most of that responsibility.
Can I ask you a question? Scott, you asked in session on Tuesday whether the town actually owned this property. And the answer was no,
Mhm.
correct?
That is correct, yes. So, some history, I assume you're looking for the history on this. So there are actually some articles from I think it's Old Town Crier articles or something else that discuss the transfer of the 280 Woburn Street site. And I believe it's the homeowner passed away in, I believe, January of 2010. In her will stated that she would like the town to have the property but maintain it as a working farm. They had a year to make a decision on it, and as they came up to that deadline, the town manager at the time, which was Michael Kyra, and the select board decided that the town did not wish to pursue having that property as a working farm. So they were going to pass on acquiring the property. I believe it then went to a historical group or commission who then put stipulations on the property that it continue to be a working farm, and that was sold in a private sale in 2012. So the town never actually accepted that as a property.
Teresa. So, thank you, Chris, for that history. I wasn't aware of that. For some reason, Wilmington, as you mentioned, has a long history of not naming schools after people. Whether that's a good idea or a bad idea is for people to discuss, but I think this would open up the floodgates, and I think if the school committee wants to change its policy about naming schools, it should be something that's discussed as a community, and there are many, including the Richardsons, many deserving families in this community who have served this community. We have Gold Star mothers, we have people who have lost their lives in service to their country, people who have lost their lives as police officers. There's any number of deserving people, and I have some experience in doing this as a former superintendent, and this is a very, very emotional thing. It's the people who favor it very strongly and understandably, but it is also very, and it is very easy to get caught up into that emotion. I think your reasoning, particularly given the transition that Wilmington may be in as it considers at least its K-5 configurations, and is starting to look holistically at its K-5 grade configurations and school configurations. I think this is probably ill-timed, and will not support the motion to approve, to recommend approval for that reason.
All right, so we have a motion to
Is
approve.
there any other are there any other comments?
If I could just add, that, so withstanding the history that, as I understand it from what I just gave, I do believe that the Richardson family did many wonderful things for the town of Wilmington, but as the other members of this committee have noted, naming a school after an individual or a family has not traditionally been what Wilmington has done, and I am concerned about what example that would set or what that could open up for the future. So I will also not be approving this. Not because of, I don't feel the family is deserving of recognition, but I don't believe this is the right way to do that.
Is there anyone else that has a comment? All right, so the motion on the table is to recommend approval, is that correct?
Mhm.
All right, so we'll need to take care of that motion then. Do you want to do, so this would be a roll call to recommend approval?
Teresa Manganelli,
No.
Andrew Levine. Scott Neville,
No.
David Temang.
No.
I am a no. Brad Jackson.
No.
It's disapproved.
All right, so now, so we need to take another vote to recommend disapproval.
I move we recommend disapproval of Article 34.
Do we have a second?
36, right?
36. Thank you.
I second the motion.
I don't think we need further discussion. I think everybody's had an opportunity, unless I'm wrong.
Roll call vote, Teresa Manganelli. This is to
Yes.
disapprove?
Yes.
Yes. Andrew Levine?
No.
Scott Neville?
Yes.
David Temang?
Yes.
I am a yes. Brad Jackson?
Yes.
Well,
Could I, I also would like to thank the petitioner. I'm going to use the old title because he served under that title, but Selectman Baloo served this community with, I actually served with him many, many years ago when
Oh,
I was
yeah.
on the school committee. He was on the Board of Selectmen at the time, and served this community for well over a decade as a member of the Board of Selectmen. And I appreciate his service, and I hope he recognizes the difficulty and the message. Hope the messenger doesn't get, the message doesn't get mixed up with the messenger.
understood. Okay, well, this brings us to the end of our meeting, and basically to the end of our Finance Committee activity for this budget year. We do have town meeting on May 4th, but our annual budget meetings are now been complete. So I do want to just say a thank you to John from WCTV for being there for us in such a nice way. And a big thank you to Tommy from the front office for always anticipating our needs and being there for people who don't arrive with their documents and being a pleasure to work with, as well as all of the Finance Committee members. So if there is nothing else to discuss,
Do we have minutes?
no.
Move to adjourn?
Roll call vote. Teresa Manganelli.
Yes.
Andrew Levine.
Yes.
Scott Neville.
Yes.
David Temang.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Brad Jackson.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you all very much. See you on the 4th,
24th, town meeting.
bright and early.